All right, folks, how we doing? We are live post another just beyond frustrating Big 12 loss for the Kansas Jayhawks. We are now 4-3 in conference play, which is new territory for us. AB, I think you were just saying before we hopped on, when has that ever happened?
Yeah, the 2021 team in the weird COVID year started 3-4. But if we don't want to count that, we don't have to. But yeah, this is just the second Bill Self KU team to have 3 conference losses in their first 7 conference games.
Yeah. Obviously, the last two, the UCF, West Virginia, those are bad losses. Today, in a weird way, like obviously it's frustrating. You're mad, you lose the game, but it's a different type of mad because what we saw today was just a stupid, truly like statistically rare basketball game by Iowa State. I mean, a bad 3-point shooting team not only just makes threes, but they make more threes than they've made in 3 seasons. They make how many threes did they have?
14.
They had 14. They go 14 of 30 from 3. They're a 26% shooting team coming into today. I don't know if that was Big 12 player the whole season. Let's see. I just saw another one. So Iowa State made threes in their Big 12 games this year. 7, 7, 4, 3, 3, 3, 14. That's just not normal. I mean, that's just something that doesn't happen very often. And it sucks because it felt like we already had this game against West Virginia. They had their best shooting night of the year and will be their best shooting performance of the entire season. And Iowa State just had what may be their best shooting performance over the next 2 seasons. So it's like, it's brutal. And AB, I saw you kind of going at it with some people on Twitter that a lot of times it's easy to say, well, we're not guarding anyone from 3. And yes, Bill Self does live by the idea of like, I'm going to let teams beat us with 3. But like, I think you tweeted it best. Letting what was the King guy shooting from 3-point range on the
18%.
letting an 18% shooter shoot threes is not a bad strategy.
No, and like I went back and looked at his like career stats. He's been bad for 5 years at shooting the 3. Like it's not just he's had an off year. I know there was a game recently. I forgot who we're even playing. I think it was at Allen, and this dude just kept hitting threes, and he was shooting like 20% on the year from 3. No, it was UCF. It was whoever the dude that the Jalen dude, and he hit like 4 in the first half, and everyone's like, oh well, this. But like in years past, he had shot 45% from 3. He was just kind of clearly cold coming into it, and then went nuts. This guy just flat out sucks at shooting until today, and he's Steph Curry. It's
and he even like he made the threes, which is one thing. Late in the game, he hits a turnaround jumper. Like if you were watching college basketball the first time tonight, you'd go away being like, that guy's the best player in the country, or like that guy's a first-round NBA pick. Like he was phenomenal, and there's plenty to be upset about with the way our team played. McCullough had the worst game of his career or worst game of his season. We didn't execute incredibly well late in the game, passed up. I don't know, just. You didn't play good the final minute and a half when you really needed to, when you felt like you battled back and had a shot. But I wanted to start by just getting all that out there because while I am annoyed we're 4-3, I'm far more annoyed that Iowa State just played the way they played. So, B-Turn, I'll give you some time to give your thoughts because I've been rambling here, but go ahead.
No, yeah, you're good. It is, and I hear from people on Twitter about the open threes, and I get that, but it felt like there was a ton that were guarded late in the shot clock, just hoisting them. I mean, we get it to 2 points late, and Gilbert hits the 3. He's 25% from 3 this year. 1 second on the shot clock, he had to get a shot up. With Trey King, like, you guys have watched college basketball. There's plenty of guys every game around the country where teams leave guys wide open purposely on the perimeter because they're daring you to shoot it. Trey King's a guy that shoots like 1 3 a game. AB just said it. I think he was at Eastern Kentucky before. He's been in college for 5 years. He's a lifetime 25% 3-point shooter. He hit more threes today than Iowa State is hitting games against Big 12 teams. He hit more threes today than he had hit all season long. So it felt fluky. But you got to give credit to them. Like they made the shots. A lot of them were open. Really thought we had a chance to win it late. Down 2, just had to get one stop. Who knows if we would have got the offensive board, but really felt like our offense started clicking late. Some elite passing around the perimeter, got Hunter really good looks. But I think we talked about it. I think they're in the first half when Iowa State really struggled to score. I think KU could have really extended their lead that they had early. There was a 7-minute stretch where I think they had 2 points, and I don't think they made a shot from the floor. So it felt like KU should have been up at half, and they ended up down 4. So obviously you got the flagrant foul on Parker. Bill got teed up purposely, so they were down at half. But it felt like they just that little stretch in the first half really hurt, and then they just couldn't get stops late or enough stops. They couldn't bunch together enough stops, and it was a bunch of late threes, desperation threes that they made, and it's just frustrating because 4-3 in the league, but if you win at least one of those games against West Virginia or UCF, and you lose in Ames, obviously you want to win, but you'd be 5-2 in the league, and that would sound great to me. But you can't lose both of those games to UCF and Westfall.
Yeah. And today was one we talked about last week. It's like, go win this one and you make up for one of those two. But that's why it's even more frustrating. I felt like we did everything the way we wanted to do it for the most part. Like, we were getting looks. We were forcing them, a bad shooting team, to take. I know people are frustrated at their open shots, but like, we were still, you can live with Iowa State beating you that way a lot of times. Like, I would bet Bill Self is not that upset about this game. It just sucks that it comes after you lose to UCF. It comes after you lose to West Virginia. It felt like such a desperate moment for this team to then have Iowa State just rain threes down on you like they did is brutal. But also, on the other side of that, it's not all because Iowa State played that good. We didn't make shots. We executed our offense at times, but I mean, I don't know what McCullough finished from the field, but it was not good. And one of them was a fluky buzzer beater at the end that is going to make it.
Threes probably in the last 2 minutes. At one point, he was 3 for 16 or
he finished 5 of 18.
A guy that 5 of 18, So he was 3 for 16. He hit 2 threes late. A guy that averages 20 a night. I was tweeting, I want him to stay aggressive, and because you can't really rely on anyone else on Kansas to score besides Hunter. KJ was scoreless in the first half. He made some free throws late, and then Furphy, he's a stud. We'll have to talk about him. But I don't know. I don't think Kev will have another night like that. He kind of looked fatigued and maybe hurt a little bit. I don't know, but I don't.
Well, that's what Bill was, because he struggled against Cincinnati too. From the field, I know he put up points, but I think he was what was he? 5 of 17 against Cincinnati. So back-to-back games, he's gone 10 of 35, I think, combined the last 2 games. Yeah, B-Turn, you might want to talk a little louder. People are saying you're a little quiet, but
damn it.
It sucks because that's just like, these are the exact games you need your star, your All-American to be really good in. And it's like, McCullough has won us multiple games this year. So it's not like you can be too upset with the guy. And like B-Turn said, he plays every second, it feels like. So he is going to get tired. But just not the game you wanted him to have. You can live with it being Cincinnati. You can live with it even being this upcoming game with Oklahoma State coming to town. But you can't have him not disappear, just clank everything he shot in that type of game. Now, I will remind everyone, the team last year, around this same stretch, was in the middle of a 3-game losing streak and went on to beat Kentucky on the road. Like, I guess that would kind of be this upcoming game. It was probably a late January game at Kentucky, right? So this is what we've seen many times. I would say this. Do you think that we saw – I'm just kind of looking at the box score here, and Hunter Dickinson goes for 20 and 15. DeJuan Harris scores 9 and has 7 assists. Kevin McCullough has 16, 7 and 3. Johnny Furphy has 15 and 6. And KJ Adams has 13, 5 and 3. Like, to me, that is the type of box score this team has to have to be good in March. And so, like, is that one positive we could be taking away, is that maybe Furphy breaking out is going to start to help some other guys. I don't know. It looks good when you look down at our box score.
Well, yeah, I said last week, and I don't know if I sound louder now. I'm trying to talk louder, but
You sound better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, turn the old headphones off. But I was saying last week, and we were at the game, but I feel really good about our starting five right now. I think the spacing looks better. The ball movement looks better. It's going to make it easier on DeJuan because now he's not really – there's no pressure on him to score. I think we got 4 guys outside of him that can score. Furphy, Kev, Hunter. KJ's not going to hit jumpers and stuff, but he's going to be able to finish, catch lobs. So I feel good about our starting five. I know we're not going to get much bench production, and I'm just trying to be positive here, but you think about a 2012 team who, yes, they had 2 All-Americans, but that team was not deep at all. And Bill's rotations aren't very long. Like he plays 6, 7 guys. I know we can't trust anyone off the bench, which, holy shit, we got to get into that stretch from El Marco when he checks in. Oh, that pissed me off.
It's just never good when you've got guys on your bench where it's like they check in and you're like, something bad's about to happen.
Yeah, it's just like when you start saying, just give us literally 90 seconds of competitive basketball, that's when you know it's pretty bad. And that's what I was saying. As he started trying to block the passing lane and just gets absolutely cooked and doubles down with a bad foul. Like
don't even foul.
We've been talking about him, like, offensively, he's been pretty much a zero, especially the last few weeks since the Wichita State game. How can you justify giving him minutes if defensively he's going to fall asleep like that? Like, that was literally the first second he was on the court for an hour or so when he came in with, 5 minutes, 6 minutes left in the game?
Yeah,
I can't fall asleep like that. Like, it's just...
Rye texted the group and said, Bill hasn't made a sub this half. I look at the scores table and you see El Marco Jackson sitting there. And I'm like, oh, God. But I was like, someone needs a breather. First possession gets beat by 10 feet backdoor. And then, the foul, he missed the free throw, but the foul was obviously pointless. Like, just let him make the layup at that point. But, yeah, you can't and that's why I asked last week to you guys, and I was going to tweet it today. Like, who would you rather play between Timberlake and El Marco right now? Like, I know Timberlake and Bill are kind of beefing, but neither play defense. And I know Timberlake doesn't knock down jumpers, but at least he's kind of a threat to score. Like, people are going to guard him from the outside. And I mean, he doesn't score much, but
it is tough because, like, that's when when AB was talking about how you just need 90. Like, we don't need a lot from these guys. So it's like, it's so aggravating that of the 2, one of which was truly, isn't he like the leading scorer in Townsend history, or truly a historic player from where he came from? Awesome scorer, awesome player. We knew it would be adjustment, but not this much of adjustment. Then you've got another guy, 5-star, that you thought would be a first-round pick. We're not asking for nobodies to come in and give us 2 minutes of good play. We're asking for highly recruited guys that the top teams in the country also wanted to come play for them. And so I don't know what the answer is. I'm leaning towards Timberlake right now, but he's also seems to be he's almost in this weird mode of not caring. Like, the 3-on-1, to not pass on the 3-on-1 early, insane. It's a simple drop off to Kevin McCullough, who, by the way, is going to convert that or get fouled and make both free throws. That's crazy. Then he takes an ill-advised shot from the corner. And I truly think at that point, Bill was done with him had we not been in foul trouble.
He presses too, I feel like when he comes in, he feels like he needs to kind of prove himself or knock down a jumper and kind of get out of his slump. Like, when he catches it from the perimeter, it's going up most of the time. But yeah, that 3-on-1, dude, Jay Wright lost his mind.
Yeah. And I think Jay Wright, I love listening to Jay Wright on the game, by the way, because he sees the game and thinks the game probably similar to Bill. So it's kind of a good way to know if Jay Wright's calling it out, Bill's steaming on the sidelines about it.
How much more do we hate Jay Wright if we lose in 22? I know we kind of comfortably won that game in the Final Four, but if he beat us again in 22, every time I heard his voice on CBS, I would just freak out.
I mean, think about Yeah, it ended perfectly because I've always had this debate with some of my other friends that they hate Jay Wright. They think he's the fakest, scummiest dude ever. And I've always been like, I kind of like the guy. I think he seems like a good dude. And they're like, no, he's a used car salesman. You're falling for it. And I still like Jay Wright. But I don't know how I would have handled them beating us in 2022. Yeah. But
can I talk about DeJuan for a second?
Yeah.
I feel like it's gotten a little out of control from the fans, and I know he hasn't been as good as we'd hope he'd be this year. Especially, he's been under Bill's system for a while. You would expect him to be more aggressive as a scorer. You'd expect just his game to improve overall and work on some things offensively. But I think AB said it last week, like he's become such a scapegoat for when we lose. Like we lose today, and it's immediately DeJuan talk in my replies on Twitter, like, what does he do? Like he's killing us. Like, what did DeJuan really do to hurt us today, boys? Like, I don't know if you guys have an answer for that, and you guys can totally correct me or whatever you want to do, but I thought he was vintage old DeJuan today, making shit happen on the offensive end. He hit a clutch three where he kind of had to chuck it up. He was getting guys involved, a bunch of deflections that led to runouts. I thought DeJuan was pretty solid today. It feels like he's become kind of the scapegoat anytime we lose because he's not a scoring point guard. And there's been times, obviously, this year where he's turned the ball over.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like one play, and I think, Ryan, you may have texted it in the group, where he gave up a layup to kick out for a three. If that's his only mistake of the game, to give up a layup when you're down by 5 with 30 seconds to go, fine with me. He had 2 turnovers against the team that forces the most turnovers in the country this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, DeJuan was fine. DeJuan, I would almost say he was maybe our best player out there today.
In fact, I would say like that's the DeJuan we've wanted to see. Like like you said it, I tweeted it. We got DeJuan vintage moments. Like I said last episode, we haven't had those moments where DeJuan makes some incredible hustle player, some incredible tapped defensive steal that leads to a layup. You saw him do that for the Furphy dunk in transition. You saw him deflect a couple balls. He was making layups. It was like, that's the DeJuan we want to see. Like, and there may be different expectations out there, but if DeJuan Harris can average 10 and 7, 9 and 7, this team is fine. This team is very fine.
I'm sorry. I'm getting triggered by the comments in here right now. Like,
I can't really see them, and I don't, because I'm on my phone. I usually do it on the laptop, so I can't see.
Someone said if you're supposed to be a good player, then you deserve to get criticized after a loss, essentially, which is fine. The problem is, why is DeJuan the first name out of your mouth? He's not the only good player on the team.
I bet he's not, though.
Have you seen Hunter Dickinson force up some crazy-ass shots? Have you seen Kevin McCullough go 3 of 18 from the field? Like, we can talk about, if you want to stick by that motto and say, if you're supposed to be a good player, you get criticized when you play bad and lose. DeJuan didn't play bad today. And I thought of one other mistake he made. I will say this. At the end of the first half, we've already talked about the stretch where you're trying to go 2 for 1. He definitely tried to force, turned it over.
That was bad.
It was bad. There's no defending that. But even with that, if that's like, he didn't make enough mistakes for the loss to be on him. So I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people saying that because that's the typical, response after a loss. He was fine. He was not the reason we lost.
Yeah, and I 100% that it's just become a thing where DeJuan has now been around so long, and we've seen the moments where DeJuan makes the big plays late in the game, and now we just are like, we expect it. And yes, does it drive me insane that our point guard doesn't seem to be comfortable enough to go up and just make a wide open layup late in the game? But also, if Hunter Dickinson makes that 3, we're applauding DeJuan for not settling for a 2 down 5.
And if DeJuan misses it, he gets crucified. So he can't win.
Yeah, and I will say he did miss a pretty easy floater in the lane in the final minutes too. So that is fair. DeJuan did not execute in the final 2 minutes, which I think is why people are so frustrated, because he has always done so well at executing in the final 2 minutes, and he just hasn't done that here in the last few weeks. But like AB said, DeJuan Harris from tip to the finish of this game was the most consistent player Kansas had on the floor. He was fine. It was Kevin McCullough not showing up or not making shots today. and it was, again, our bench just giving us absolutely nothing.
Like all season.
I want to throw this one up too. I just looked this up. Iowa State's point guard. Guess the last points he scored in this game. Just throw a number out there. Since we're talking about point guards not scoring in the last X amount of minutes of a game, tell me when Lipsy scored his last bucket of the game. I'd love to know. Because I just looked it up. 17 minutes and 3 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, he wasn't good either.
I'm starting to get triggered and take it out on comments right now. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm really like, it frustrates me when the blame is directed to people that don't deserve it at all. And that's part of sports, I understand. But none of us think DeJuan's the best player on this team. None of us do. It's almost like the Chiefs when like Mahomes was struggling earlier this year. People refuse to say that he was bad. Like there were times where he was bad, and it's like, okay, sure, but like, I don't know. I'm rambling right now.
That's why
it's a weird spot.
That's why the Kevin thing, I totally get not criticizing him. Like I'm not even upset whatsoever with him. Like he's gonna have bad nights, but he's been so consistent. He's averaging 20 a night that it's impossible to criticize him. Like if he was having a bad season, he would get crucified today on social media. But he's going to have tough nights. And I can't, like I said, I can't get mad at him. KJ was scoreless in the first half. Hunter was, I think, 1 for 25 in the first half. So I don't know. I get it though.
Do you guys want to hear something disgusting though?
Well,
it was 26-25, 40 seconds left in the first half. We end the half 30 down. We give up 5 points in those final 40 seconds. We lost the basketball game by 4 points. I mean, if you want to get real, like number, like that's stupid. So many other variables go into play, but like that is why you can't have those stretches where instead of getting your own 2 for 1, it turns into a 5-point swing, or really a 7-point swing. And that's a rare. Yeah, they missed 2 free throws. It should have been 7 points. So that is brutal to think that this was a 4-point game, but also Kevin McCullough made it a 4-point game by.
That's why I'm not going to melt down too much about the results of the game. We did better than what all projections said based on the final score. Obviously, it was a game we wish we would have won. We probably could have won and maybe should have won. But that's why I'm not melting down. Vegas had us losing this game by 5, lost by 4. Like it is, it's part of it. You're not going to win every game. I think where the anger is going to come out is the 4-3 record and the fact that we lost 2 bullshit games to one team that's certainly not making the tournament and another team that's bubble at best. I don't know where UCF stands right now in bracketology. I don't think they're a lock or probably anywhere close to a lock to get in the tournament. See, that's where the frustration is going to come off. This loss, we could have predicted this loss before the season started when we thought we were going to be by far and away the best team in the country. Like you lose in Hilton.
Exactly. You needed to win this one because of the past loss.
Right. And I think that's why I'm pissed off. I think that's why a lot of other people are pissed off. Because I've seen people say like expectations of a blue blood program. You got to win games. Of course you do. But there's no shame in losing to a top 25 team on the road that apparently steals signs, which we can use that excuse if we want to.
Can I share a tweet real quick? So AP top 10 teams coming into today are 17 and 27 this season on the road against unranked opponents. So that's 38% winning percentage. If you compare that to last year, they were winning 60% of those games. The year before that, they were winning 61% of those games. The year before that, they were winning 59% of those games. The year before that, they were winning 66, and the year before that, they were winning 73. So like all across the board, college basketball teams, good top 10 teams are just not winning road games. So I don't know what that says. I don't know if that's just kind of a fluky thing and that number will start to flip. But either way, it's not just us not winning road games. It's the entire landscape of college basketball, which I know doesn't help us, but it still is showing that like it's hard to win these games, and especially winning at Hilton, especially when they have their best shooting game in 3 seasons. So like I am not mad at this KU team today. I'm just more mad that we put ourselves in the situation where we had to win this game.
That's why I think we all knew we would lose a stinker on the road, and that's just college basketball. Like, I think or at least me, I had a feeling either the Oklahoma State game or the West Virginia game would be tight. Maybe we could lose. We obviously pumped Okie State, and we ended up losing at Morgantown, which I get. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, if we're 5-2 and we lose this game, like we have Oklahoma State at home Tuesday. I'm not just gonna say we're gonna win, but AB, we're
We'll
gonna
win.
win.
We're gonna
6-2 in the
I'm not.
6 and
I'm done with the pod if we lose that game.
6-2 in this monster of a league would feel elite. Like, yeah, you lose in Morgantown. We've lost there so many times, and that was a close, tight game where it came down to getting an offensive rebound or not. And yeah, that it just makes this loss hurt worse when it shouldn't, because we didn't play that bad. They hit a bunch of crazy jumpers. We had a couple cold stretches offensively, but God, it didn't. I don't think we played bad today. It's just frustrating. Like, every time we would inch close in the second half, they would nail a couple threes. They legit started 6 of 6 or like 7 of 7 from 3. In the second half, Ryan just listed 3 to 4 games where they hit half that amount in full games. They don't shoot threes. They don't make threes. They don't have really anyone that shoots a good percentage from 3. Like, I get it. I don't even know. Are our stats defensively, AB, that bad against the 3? Like, I don't sit there and pay attention to stats against the 3, but that's all my replies are on Twitter, is that we can't guard the 3. Bill Self can never guard the 3. Bill Self's teams don't play defense, which is not true whatsoever.
Yeah, it's pretty average on KenPom. They're 163rd defending the 3. But
I think it's just
that's about average, and teams are not shooting average against us. It's just, I don't know. But this isn't a new thing. This has been happening for years.
it's guys that don't make jumpers just have historic performances against us. It's literally insane.
Yeah, and can we talk about, because I want to talk about the upcoming stretch a little bit, but I don't know about you guys, but probably the thing that got me the biggest reaction out of me today, like in my living room, that caused me to like yell and act like a toddler, was late in the game. We are full court pressing. We force what could have been a travel. I don't know. Was that a travel? It was close. They don't call it. We then guard for the next 30 seconds. Fit pretty dang well. They run zero offense. They don't even get the ball past really inside the three-point arc. And then they just settle for a pull-up 3 in Furphy's face, which, yeah, I think Furphy in that situation probably should have been a little more aggressive on the contest. But that, to me, was the most frustrating and just summed up that game perfectly. Like, we played good. We did everything we wanted to do that possession. And at the end of the day, it's a guy just wetting a 3 right in your face and daggering the game. So,
the announcing crew was all saying at the same time, like, what are they doing? They're going to be stagnant. They're starting their offense with 7 seconds. And then,
yeah, I mean, definition of a dagger.
I've got a fun little fact. This has nothing to do with today's game, but I was curious because I just went to KenPom to look. KenPom has us as a 6-point underdog at home against Houston on Saturday. I don't think that's going to be the line, but I do think it's fair to say we're probably going to be dogs. Guess how many times we've been an underdog since Bill Self took over at home?
I would bet less than 3.
Turner.
I mean,
I don't have the specific games, but I have like.
I would bet like the Chalmers freshman year team against like OU.
2 since 2004, according to TeamRankings.com. We are 1-1 against the spread as a home underdog.
What was the spread today? 4.5.
Yep.
Yeah,
great teams cover.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what that line is on Saturday, because Houston, they're flat out, they are better than us right now. I am terrified of what our offense is gonna look like against their defense. But if they are anything more than like 3-point favorites, it seems like a financial a must to bet on the Hawks, just out of, again, principle, not because I think this team is for sure going to win that game, but that would just be crazy.
What did that final end up being today?
74-52 or something, 72-54 or something like that.
Awful.
So I've been sitting here chuckling because I just saw a tweet. I don't know if it's recent.
Anytime you chuckle, I always wonder if it's like something I say or in our comments.
I'm sorry, but have you guys seen the video? I don't know if this is recent. I don't know if this was from K-State game, but it's an Iowa State security guard breakdancing on the dance floor. And I don't know, it's probably a skit, but I can't stop laughing, picturing that fan base like hurling things at the K-State bench, even though I don't even know if that was ever found to be true, or like filming the K-State huddle. Meanwhile, the security guard is breakdancing in the middle of the floor. I just find that to be the most hilarious thing. So I got to find out more about this breakdancing cop.
How triggered do you think anti-court storming people were today?
Oh, I've already seen the tweets. People are very triggered. I mean, I was shocked.
4.5 point favorites. You're ranked. Don't have fun. We would never storm the court at Lawrence.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with, I want to talk about this next, gosh, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 6 game it's probably best to break out the season in the 6-game stretches. I don't know the rest of the way.
Dylan thought we could go 13-5 in the league.
Hey,
dude, I'm sure it's going to be brought up some point. I said we were going to go 29-2 this year. So,
hey, we could win out. God. What would you be happy with the rest of the Big 12 season loss-wise? Because we got 11 left, and at least 4 of those are against Baylor, Houston. You're in Bramlage. You got BYU.
At OU, at Tech. Speaking of, the Texas Tech Red Raiders have won in Norman and are now alone in first place at 6-1 in the conference. 5-1. They didn't play this week.
So let me tell you something. If this season's going to follow the script of a Bill Self basketball season, here's what's about to happen. The Hawks are going to beat Oklahoma State. The Hawks are going to win at home against Houston. The Hawks are going to go into Manhattan and beat K-State. I just feel like we should do that. We win there.
We should, but
so imagine that. Imagine we win the next 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you're 7-3. You have Baylor coming to Allen Fieldhouse following that. You then beat Baylor at home, which we almost always do. Now you're 8-3. And then I think we get to what will be the biggest stretch of the entire season is you go to Texas Tech and you go to Oklahoma. If you win one of those 2, 8-4 with a fairly favorable 4-game stretch coming up after that. Like that to me, if you can beat Houston at home and win at K-State, which is easier. I mean, it's not very easy because we may be dogs and we'll be dogs at home against Houston. I don't know. I think we'll be favored at K-State.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing. The season can flip if you go and win that game against Houston and you win in K-State. Like,
what are the percentages we finish with 6 Big 12 losses?
Man.
If they finish 12-6 in this league, that would be like.
I mean,
what's more likely?
I think that's my prediction. 12-6. Honestly, just going through what Ryan just said. I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah, because I feel like I know Texas Tech looks pretty good, but like, are we really? We're not convinced Bill Self by February 12th and February 17th can have these boys playing good enough to win at Texas Tech and at OU. I think they can. Now, I think you probably lose at Baylor. You probably lose at Houston. So the tricky part is the 2 of the last 3 are just, games that you have to consider to be losses. So you have to be really good until you have to be at like 4 losses when you get to those final 3. Right? Because you can't be at 6 and then lose 2 of the last 3 and then finish with 8, obviously. But so it feels like the stretch has to start now, and we've got to be really good over the next 27 days. Bold prediction by me to say that we need to be really good in February. I know I'm giving riveting analysis here.
They will be. They'll figure it out.
Who is that in the comments?
That's Austin.
Christensen. Oh my God, he's the goat. I want my sponges back.
Did you guys see Fever Pitch get a shout out yesterday on Twitter?
No.
So that tweet was going viral that said, like, when men say they're busy, what exactly do they mean? And it was a screenshot of Jimmy Fallon looking after Lindsay asked him to go to Paris with him, and he said, "Seattle's in town. We're 2 back with 3 weeks to go. Kurt's on the mound Friday, Schilling's on Saturday, or Pedro's on Saturday."
Kurt
was
and then
dying.
Chilling.
Yeah, both of them. Bloody sock, baby. Superpowers.
Back-to-back starts like it's back in the day. That
I
was
will
fair.
recommend this. I will recommend this, especially if the Chiefs happen to lose tomorrow. I want everyone watching this to tune into Fever Pitch tomorrow and just remind yourself why you love sports. Just remind yourself. Because honestly, that movie, when he's sitting there and he just got broken up with, his life's falling apart, and he's sitting there and someone's asking, "Why do you do this? Why do we still do this?" And he says, "Because the Red Sox are here for you." Name anyone else in your life that'll make it up. If, whether it's 12:05 or 7:05, if the game gets rained out, they'll make it up to you. Like, just, they're always there. They're always going to be here. If things start to crumble this weekend or any time in your life, just watch Fever Pitch. I promise you. I know people say it's a corny movie. It's a good fucking movie.
Wow.
Bill Buckner.
The GOAT.
But it's very true,
That's
because
Devil Ray
think about how annoyed we are. Imagine the feeling we're going to have when we win at K-State after beating Houston the week before, or the days before. Like, that's what makes this all worth it. And it happens more for Kansas basketball than it does any other program in the country. We will win a road game where Bill Self fist pumps hard, and we are so excited.
Perspective.
Yes. Wow.
I just
Therapeutic for the boys.
Therapeutic, boys. Therapeutic. Now let's go get a win on the football field tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm in DC right now. Still don't have tickets for the game tomorrow. They are still $700 for nosebleeds, but I'm in DC and I get to watch a former 2020 national champion play basketball tonight, and Devon Dotson.
Oh.
People forget. National champ.
National champ, 100%.
For the Washington Go-Go's, the G League team.
Hell
He's
yeah.
about to get 30. Chiefs,
all right,
bro. Rest in peace, B-turn and backs.
It would be a tough scene.
Do we have any thoughts on it? I think it's insane that Patrick LeVon Mahomes II is getting 4 points on the road. I mean,
what if I told you can get Mahomes as an underdog and Bill Self as an underdog at Allen Fieldhouse in a 6-day stretch?
Take both.
Lives,
and you're hitting one.
lives could change for people if they really wanted to just go based on history.
I have to admit, the turn man just absolutely nuked Kansas plus 5.5 at halftime. That Kevin McCullough threw at the buzzer.
Oh.
I mean, I almost texted you guys because I was so pissed about it. I was like, you guys got the pod today. Kev hits it, and I'm all the way back in, even though we lost, and I feel like a dick. But, my God, that was a big one. One of those 18 shots. He made it.
I'm pretty sure I told him to F off after making the 3 because I was so annoyed that he finally was hitting shots in the final minute of the game. But happy for you, B-turn.
I wonder I'm trying to think what the score. We talked about the DeJuan floater. I know we're about to wrap this up, but that floater he missed. I'm trying to think what the score was and how much time was left, because that really was a big possession, and that was where Hunter, like right when he shot the floater, Hunter jumped to grab it, and you heard Rafter say Hunter mistimed his jump there. That he would have got it and had an easy stick back. But I wish I could remember. I'm sure I can go find it, but that was a huge possession, and I think he hit the backboard on the floater. But
was it when we went down after they hit the 3 to go up 5? Is that what it was?
Probably.
But I remember that. He doesn't. Dickinson doesn't quite have the Andrew Wiggins double jump.
What was going through your guy's head when the shot clock was melting down, 1 second left, and he fired that 3?
I was yelling. You can ask Hannah. I said, this will be the most brutal made 3 of the whole day, or of the whole year, because it was like we did everything we wanted to do. And it was a classic situation of being no. And I just took a pillow and I launched it. I was so annoyed. Annoyed.
I just started laughing when he put it up, because it was a decent shot. Like, it wasn't wide open, but it wasn't like he was harassed. I just threw my hand up. I was like, what the fuck, man? Yeah. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. It was just frustrating that they drew us back in just to, not give us any chance to actually tie the game late.
Yeah. And then I saw someone in the comments ask, it was like 30 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago, but They asked, can this team still get a 2 seed in the March or in the tournament? Or they said, is it even possible?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the Big 12 and we are going to have, and I know quad one wins didn't matter last year, but old Chris Reynolds might change his mind this year. And we are going to have, as long as we don't just keep, I mean, we have to start winning some basketball games, but we will, we will. And by the end of the season, every team that's in the top 3 of the Big 12, their resumes are going to be insane.
My thing is, we keep saying we're going to win these games, but I feel like there's going to be another stinker too that we lose, because we talk about sleepwalking and how many times they've done that this year. Like I know we don't lose at Allen much, but I could see us losing a random ass game at Allen, especially when you have Baylor and Houston there, BYU there. Like we keep saying we're going to end up winning these games. We could still go like 12-6, 11-7. But we could also lose a game that we shouldn't. Like, there is zero fucking reason we should have lost both of those games to UCF and West Virginia. Like, there's no way, dude. UCF stinks out loud. West Virginia is even worse. Like, there's just no way. The West Virginia game, can't lie, I didn't even watch much of that game, but
it was a tough one.
It's got to be. I mean, I watched the second half, but that one had to have been fluky too.
But okay, I want you to remember, everyone listening to this, last year, January 23rd, we had just wrapped up our 3rd straight conference loss, one of which was a 23-point home loss to TCU. Following that game, we won at Kentucky. We beat a top 10 team, K-State, at home. And then we ended up losing again February 4th to Iowa State. But then we win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games to clinch the Big 12 title, including a top 5 win over Texas, or maybe they weren't top 5 at the time, but a ranked win over Texas, at Oklahoma State, a top 10 win over Baylor, at TCU, West Virginia, Texas Tech. So, like, I know I'm not guaranteeing it, because we've seen the teams like the Diedrich team, they just kept tumbling and getting worse. We've seen the Marcus Garrett 2021 team. They continued to get they never really figured it out. But this team, if they are as good and have the potential as we think they do, now is the stretch where you're going to see them win some games and turn this season around. And if they don't, like if they lose to Houston and lose to K-State, obviously it's all over. Like you can finish the expectations and just hope that they can maybe have a fluky Elite 8 run in the tournament. But beat Houston, even if they lose at K-State or lose to Houston and then beat one of the two, I don't think they're quite dead. They're mostly dead, but not quite.
When you say dead, what do you mean by that?
Like Big 12 titles way dead, okay. and like 1 seed, 2 seeds kind of dead. And when I say dead, at the end of the day, it's when I just don't think this team could really. It would take like a crazy lucky draw in the NCAA tournament, and a crazy hot shooting performance or something to make a tournament run is when I consider us dead.
Has that ever happened for us?
I think we do.
I considered us dead in 2022 when we got blown out by Kentucky. I was like, this team does not have it. This team just doesn't have it. And the next thing you know, they get Providence in the Sweet 16, who was a 4 seed somehow, but like 50th in KenPom. And then you get a 10 seed in the Elite 8. And then you get a banged up 2 seed and then an 8 seed in the championship game. So things can happen. And someone commented this earlier, and I don't know if it's a great example because I don't know. I don't remember the injuries they could have had, if they had any at all. UConn lost 5 of 6 last year in January and 6 of 8. And then they just absolutely steamrolled through March.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not the best evaluator of talent, and I don't have the best memory of teams other than the teams I care about. I don't remember, who was out and how talented that UConn team was last year. But this team that KU has is pretty damn talented too. And it's not like they can't just get hot and go crazy for a 3-week stretch at the end of February, early March, and end of March. Like they certainly possible. So I don't want to give up on it completely. But there are times, and it's hard to like not acknowledge that it just doesn't look like a very good basketball team. It's not a very fun basketball team to watch.
Also, looking at KenPom last night, just looking at all the teams. Did Arizona lose last night, by the way?
They played last night?
Or a few nights ago?
Yeah, to Oregon State?
Yeah, Arizona's weird.
So because people are high on them, I'm looking at KenPom, and I was going to ask you guys, like, if you had to pick one team, I guess it probably would be Purdue. But who is like far and away the best team in the country right now?
I think Purdue would be the answer. I think if I were like really betting money on a team to win it all, I might put Houston there.
I was
Like
going to say, I don't know if I can go against Houston with this. I mean, they blow teams out. They had their tough stretch on the road, but the two teams they lost to on the road, TCU almost beat us in Allen, and Iowa State, we just lost there too. So like, I think Houston could be damn good. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to prove it because I'm never going to pick it until they show it.
Yeah.
And then we got to talk about one guy that I think we've only said his name once on this episode, but Johnny Furphy. He's pure.
That is, if you're sitting there melting down about this season, which is fine if you are, but like, just don't forget there's a young Australian boy that fell into our hands in August that is peaking at the exact right time. We need him to do it for about 2 more months, but still.
I've got one other comment once we're done with Bird Dog.
But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that, like, imagine if Elmarco Jackson was still our starting 2 guard. Imagine how we would feel about this season. Like, it's crazy. We wanted Furphy or him to be good, and now they are, or now Furphy is, and we're still losing, which is pretty devastating. But
we're losing more than we were.
It's gonna flip.
Here's why I'm confident too. Obviously, Dickinson's not a 50% 3-point shooter, but he's better than 4 of 16 in conference play.
Yeah, and we knew he was gonna have a little bit of like
and that opens a lot up. Now, I will say with Dickinson, obviously he's awesome. He puts up great numbers. He does. He's sometimes the only reason our offense can score. Sometimes he takes some shots that make me want to send him to fucking Jupiter. I mean,
he's also 7'2" and can't block a shot.
The other thing that bothers me, it's not that he can't even block a shot; he just doesn't even help. There was that one where it was I think it was Furphy that got beat on the baseline late in the game in the wide open layup. Dickinson was right there, standing in the paint. Like, step over, you're tall. Just put a hand up. Like, at least make it tough. If you foul him, you foul him. But like.
This is an interesting I just realized I'm logged in. I can pen comments too. This is an interesting comment because Furphy has been really, really good offensively, but is he worse than Elmarco defensively? And is that having some sort of, I think a lot of it is just like today, you could have had Michael Jordan and his Defensive Player of the Year award seasons on the court today, and Iowa State would have made 14 threes. But like,
is that a shot at Jordan?
No, that's actually a compliment.
Just joshing you.
So I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I don't think he's that bad to see our defense regress the way it has these last few weeks. I think a lot of it's just statistical. I mean, West Virginia and Iowa State will not have better shooting nights than they each just had. Like, that's a tough stretch to have that 2 weeks.
It's crazy to say because of how much I personally talk about Ken Pom and how much we were convinced that this offense was truly in trouble and the defense was amazing. On Ken Pom right now, our offense ranks better than our defense does.
I don't like this angle B turn.
I love it.
Not one bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say?
I don't like this B turn.
But AB, I think we're all in agreement that we feel better about the defense taking a big jump at some point than we are the offense, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not even worried. Like, there's no Furphy scoring it too well for it to be that big of a gap between him and Elmarco. And I don't.
Yeah.
Defensively, and like we just talked about it, Elmarco constantly gets beat backdoor and gets lost defensively. Furphy did it today too, and there's no way I know how to say his last name for Iowa State, the freshman from
Manowich, whatever his name is.
And because Furphy just hit a corner 3, and then they come down, Furphy gets lost, and he hits a 3. It's like, fuck. Every time we inch closer, dude, they hit a 3, and most of the time it's a wide open look. So, yeah, I get what the fans are saying about the wide open looks because these are D1 Power 5 players.
I see people say that, though, but, man, I watch a lot of college basketball boys. D1 college athletes miss a lot of wide open threes on a consistent basis. So I don't know. It's probably in the middle because the end of the day, I don't think it's some like spell that whenever we play a team that we should beat, that they just go nuts and hit a bunch of threes. Like, I think there probably is a little bit of a strategy behind it. But I don't know, man. It happens too often for me to say it's just 100% luck.
Yeah,
because we've talked about that. We've done this is year 5 of the pod, 5th season,
Mhm.
6th season. We've talked about this
and
dozens of times.
I've always been one that thought our fan base was a little annoying when it came to being like, oh, here we go. They're making threes. And it was like, well, that's part of Bill Self's entire philosophy. It's like, don't give up easy buckets. Let them shoot threes. But I will say these last couple weeks have been crazy. Like they really have.
For sure.
So I think it's different. If Iowa State makes 9 threes today and you're complaining, that's a little different. But for them to make 14 is one where it's just like that's
what are you gonna do? And Bill even knew that too. They showed
Yeah.
Bill in the second half. He just turned and laughed.
Yeah.
I wonder how many they made total in the second half. I'm sure someone
7
in
or
the
8
comments has that. Oh, it has to be because they were 6 for 7 at one point.
Yeah, I know that
And
they started
obviously
6
they hit
for
that
6,
one at
didn't
the end of the shot clock. Yeah, 6 for 6.
they? And then they hit Manowich or whatever his name is, hit that one when Furphy got lost, and then the last one they hit with 30 seconds left or whatever it was.
Are we making Travis Clement Smith part of the pod?
I mean, this guy knows ball. The D rotates more to prop up. I don't know. I can't picture that, but he's probably right.
More help because he gets lost a lot.
Which is a problem
then
because we're only switching 4 now. So then it's like if it's around Dickinson's not going to switch. So if Furphy gets lost and Dickinson's right there, it's probably going to end up to an open shot. Yeah,
it does suck that like you have a 7-footer that doesn't really protect the rim when our guards do get blown by. That does suck, but
there's our guy Sully, 9 for 15 in the second half.
Sully or anyone else in the chat, because it looked like a couple people knew that they'd been underdogs twice at home since Bill Self got here. Does anyone know those games off the top of their head?
Texas
A&M I can't find them.
Wow. Our guy Travis, the defensive master, was a freshman during Danny Manning's senior year.
What a time what a freshman year to have.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I love when we say we're going to wrap up at 35 minutes, and here we are, 52 minutes in, talking.
Get used to it, folks.
Defensive mechanics.
Danny Manning, number 1.
All right. So, big stretch, 100% a big stretch coming up. So we'll see. I think the best part about being a Kansas fan and really just a college basketball fan as a whole is that the season can flip so fast. Like you just rattle 3 games off in a row here, and we're going to forget how this even felt. So it's what we need to happen. But if we lose 2 of the next 3, we'll see you.
I'm triggered that we're 4-3. I would have been locked into this game today no matter what because it's Ames and they drive us crazy. I know we're trying to wrap this up, but I wouldn't have been as invested as I was if we were we were 4-2. If we were 5-1 in the league.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was like we said earlier.
We could even have been melting down.
You can afford to lose this game when the schedule comes out at the beginning of the season, but you can't when you lose. I mean, if you're going to sleepwalk against UCF and West Virginia, well, then you got to win this game. But sucks. We'll see.
Chiefs.
We'll see. Yeah, go Chiefs.
Subscribe.
Go Chiefs.
Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We're really good at marketing and never ask people to do that. So really good. We always wait till the final minute too when people have probably already got off. But yes, please go subscribe. And yeah, we'll probably be back. When do we play Oklahoma State? Is that a Monday? Tuesday.
There it is.
Good.
Home dogs to Baylor in 2021.
Yep.
Did we win that game?
2020. That was the weird market. Oh, yeah, we smoked them, didn't we?
Blew the doors off of them. Scott Drew, I mean,
that's an interesting development.
I got to look at the score of this one.
I think we won by 13. I want to say 83-69.
Well, I was going to give you a lot of credit until you didn't come close to the score prediction.
Oh.
They did win by 13, 71-58.
I love that I then said a 14-point deficit, like a 14-point difference. Good math.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's time to
83, 69.
I don't know why I had that in my head. All right, let's go. I got to go pretend sports don't exist. We'll see ya, boys. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.